Hello. Well, you know who this is. This is Isaac David Brigmond, the pastor of the Christian Hearts Christian Fellowship Online Ministry. And I'm going to start trying to do 2 shows. I'm going to try to go back to I'm going to start going back to doing the one I was doing about basically doing my podcast version of my church and also the Isaac David Brigmond Show. Well, on part 1 of the Isaac David Brigmond Show, part 1 meaning episode 1, I just wanted to talk to y'all today about, on this show, it is subjects that you need to know about from a clean perspective, basically. And you know there's a lot of times that when you say stuff and you don't care if people hear you or not, because you figure if they hear you, then pretty much they'll understand what you're trying to say about them. But if they don't hear you, then you don't have to worry about it. But anyhow, story goes like this. I just got some new neighbors, and I'm going to have to get my courage up one day and talk to them. I just don't want people to think that I'm a bad neighbor and think that I wouldn't want to talk to nobody. But it's always good to get new people, because you learn things about folks you didn't know nothing about, or you find out who you got that may already be someone you know. And that's a good thing, because it gives you a chance to get things off your chest that you have to tell someone new in your life if you get new people, male and female. And that's just how life goes a lot of times. But I also wanted to say that, it seems like that everybody's so into what used to be, it was Donald Trump. Now it's Trump and then Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton has gone off her rocker, because have you seen her attitude lately? It's almost like somebody who hasn't got no sense. And did Huckabee just drop out without me knowing about it? Because, folks, he could have at least admitted to it. And if he did, why did he wait so late to do it? I'm telling you, folks, it don't make no sense to say that we're supposed to be men and women of God, and we're supposed to say we want God back in the White House, but yet once we get ourselves into the debate to be president, or in the running to be president, so we could get God back in the White House, it comes out to be that now nobody wants God in the White House as much as they said they did. Or either that, or he saw the trash that was going on and said, whoa, I can't handle these people. I can't say which it was, but I tell you, if there's a guy that would actually put a man back in the White House, it'd be like this is how I'd act about it. But the attempts that they try to make to do this stuff don't make no sense. If you really are serious about wanting God in the White House again, like he was with Washington, Lincoln, and the Roosevelts, then why is it we see nobody doing nothing about it? You don't supposed to talk it if you're not going to do it, because I seen y'all guys, I seen what y'all do, and y'all think I didn't catch on to your shenanigans that you're pulling on this mess, because I've done stuff in my life I shouldn't have done myself, but at least I'm going to admit to it. And you people that sit there, and the people I'm talking about is the inner man, as I always say in all my conversations about you people, I mean the inner self. The inner self takes and does some crazy stuff. Y'all say with your inner self that you're going to do something, but then you never follow through with it. Like, I think I want to talk about God to people. I understand there are people that you can talk to that will get mad about it, and people that you can talk to that will accept what you said, and you don't know what's what anymore. I understand that, and that makes sense. I mean, I'm not trying to steal your thunder. I'm not trying to do nothing bad to you. Or nothing like that, because I understand how this goes. It's not right to say, okay, I'm going to do something and then it's going to be working out. No, because I know that when you say, I'm going to do something a certain way, what you're actually saying is that you did what you had to do, but you didn't do it according to the way you were going to do it because I guess you thought that it wasn't the right thing to do, or either you just didn't care one. I can't figure it out. But I will say it like this. You do have some good ideas, some of you people in this world. I will agree with that. But what I won't agree with is the attitude you take to do this with. Do you not understand that if you don't want to do this stuff that you're fussing about, then fuss about it in the environment you fuss about it in and let it go, folks, because I don't think we need people trying to run the White House that don't really want God in it to start with and don't want. And what is the deal about sitting there telling people what you believe in if you don't believe in that stuff? Like you're going to tell someone you believe in the fact that, all right, you're a guy and you're a girl. And you turn around and you say, okay, I'm a guy, I'm a girl. And I'm going to turn around and I'm going to basically get me a deal where I can say, okay, I'll get how's it go? An attitude where I'm going to say I'll get me a deal where people can pay me a bunch of money for my campaign. Then I'll go right behind their backs and say that I don't believe in the things that these people stand for. And I'll say this to the candidate that I'm going against and have him believing that I believe that, and the whole time I don't believe that. Now that's stupid. Who in their right mind thinks that it's a good idea to sit there and lie and say, well, this thing this guy stands for, I don't believe in it. Well, if you don't believe in it, why are you saying you stand for it then? I mean, I'm not trying to sound bad or nothing, but if a grown man don't like what another grown man does, say that. Don't say, I'm going to let people pay me money for my campaign, and then turn around and then say those companies that are paying me, I don't like their standards. And then I'm saying this to the guy that I'm going against in the presidential election. So, like, say if the guy I was going against name was John Carson. Say that I look John Carson dead in the eyeballs and say I don't like what some companies are doing. But yet the whole time I'm saying that, I'm actually taking those companies' money and using it for my campaign. Now that makes no sense. And the actual person I told this stuff to, he believes what I said the whole time. That gets ridiculous. And then, what's this about? They say in the Army, Navy, and Marines that we need to go in through the Army, Navy, and Marines being all that we can be in our armed services. But why does it say that in one sentence, but in the same breath it took to say all that, you also trying to say that if you turn around and report a rape that happened to a man, woman, or child in a foreign country, when they came to you for help, it's time to expel you from the Army, the Navy, or the Marines, or the Coast Guard, or whatever branch of service you was in, because you were trying to do not only the duty you thought of the American Armed Service, but the duty of the Armed Service of God. You got a better chance at getting more understanding and respect with God's army than you would the real army. I used to think that I wanted to be a soldier, and then they told me because of some health issues I couldn't join. Then I look at now and I'm thinking it's a good thing I didn't, because we'd have not a war of enemy versus enemy, more like a civil war within itself, saying that the army would fight within its own system to try to get the ones they want in and the ones they don't want weeded out by saying, look what you did. You stood up for a human being who was a good human being, and now you're going to get expelled because of it. What? Oh, so expel a man from the army because he stood up for another human being. Well, gotta get you for it, guys. When God looks you dead in the eyeballs and says, why do we have less of an army or less of a Marines or Navy or Coast Guard or whatever, then you're going to have to explain to him in the scariest attitude ever, because he did what you asked him to do, God, and it wasn't what we wanted, so we expelled him. God didn't always say that what your laws and rules say was going to follow his laws and rules. It just said that God said, thou shalt do what God said, and if thou shalt not do what God said, thou shalt get in trouble. And that's what I don't get, folks. Y'all want to act like y'all think y'all better than people in this world, but you don't stop to think about the stuff you do when you do this here attitude. I mean, I'm not trying to get you mad or nothing, but do you not get the fact that there are people in this world that actually are trying hard not to do nothing stupid? I mean, I don't try to do anything stupid but tell you how I feel, but I do think it's messed up. And what is it about these guys? Excuse me, coughing. What is it about these guys? Get on these, and I'm going to do this to you. It's time for me to do a segment called I'm Calling It Out. It is where I'm going to call out something. And basically it means that I'm going to stop and start talking about a subject where I had to do this. Something where you may sit back and laugh about something I had to say, and the whole purpose may be to either make you laugh or be shocked. Well, like this. How about these guys that get on these radio shows? They call in, and they've called in more than once. They even make it a regular deal that they call in because they started it one day. Then after they started it one day, they did it another day, and it's just got to be where they did it on their own. The show didn't tell them to call in. They call on their own, but the show decided that they'd say, when this person calls in, it's all about them at that point. Okay, so then they call in, and then they get mad at the show because somebody said something they like wasn't real. Okay, now y'all may boo me and y'all may not boo me for this, but I watch the Rick and, well, I say watch. You can't watch them now, I mean, unless you go to certain places. But I listen to the Rick and Bubba show, and this morning they had a caller in where he had basically been a regular caller, and it was on him that he done this. And he got upset because of the fact that people were saying that wrestling was fake. Whether you believe wrestling is real or fake, that's on you. It is entertaining, I'll admit to that. And yeah, I believe that there's too much drama that goes on in every sport anymore because wrestling today is more like, what's going on with the wrestler more than his talent. In football, it's more about the commercials surrounding football than the football itself, which I do agree there are some funny commercials like that. That puppy baby monkey thing. You probably seen that. Go to YouTube and look that up. That puppy monkey baby or monkey baby, however you want to do it. You will see a commercial that I actually think, what the world were they thinking when they made this? But I guess they had to come up with something to sell the product. How about them Old Spice commercials that Terry Crews? Come on now, and don't tell me that wasn't funny. But anyhow, what I'm saying is that, yeah, I agree some commercials get your mind going and all, but I just don't. I just think it's kind of funny, how sports these days has gotten to the point where, and I'm calling out right now about the fact that there are people that get on these radio shows intending to make a conversation and end up mad because somebody said something they didn't like and get so upset, I think they almost crying. I'm like, look, you're getting so mad you're about to cry. What's the big deal? I don't get it. If you really care about your family and friends, you would do stuff to help them. Like, hey, people, I call in to tell something positive in this world, not get all upset over something that don't make no sense for me to be mad about. And I love you people like I always say, but Good gracious. I don't get it with you folks. I mean, getting all upset over something ridiculous. Wake up. Your inner man is getting upset about nothing. I mean, it's sports. When sports is over, are we dead or alive? We still alive as long as we don't play the sport to the point of getting our butts bashed in the head and dead. I mean, and now they're trying to say that football is too rough. Well, I think there was a time period called yesterday sports was still rough. Y'all talking about like it just now a new thing about the roughness of sports. I always knew that it was rough, but that's just on me. And what is the deal with, used to be yesterday, there was a time period in the past when we used to didn't even care what these candidates done or didn't do when it came to their campaigns. It was more like you become a man or woman on the TV and radio, and if the internet was around, it was around, but wasn't that bad. Now it's like you got to make all these different memes and different gifs and things where people are trying to talk either negative or silly about the people in the presidential elections. And I think it's funny that y'all go that far about it. So I don't know. But that's just me talking about the outrageous attitude of folks in this world. So it's just a segment called I'm Calling It Out. But back on regular note, I just wanted to say, you people have pretty much, whether you said it to me or not, some of y'all silently probably were fans of mine and probably didn't know how to explain it to me without looking bad. Well, why would you look bad to do that? Because I don't do nothing dirty, or try not to. If I have, I'll apologize about it, and I'll go about doing what I got to do, but I just try not to make too much of a mess out of my life when I'm trying to help people out. I understand that I don't always say the perfect thing and do the perfect thing in life, and I understand I can be something you got to watch out for in your life. You doing something that you're not supposed to, that God will get you for it if you don't do it like you're supposed to, and He puts a stop to a lot of stuff that He don't want you doing because He knows if you do it over and over, you'll find yourself in worse shape than you really were. Get it right with God first and listen to what God says. If God says, I will do this for you if you do this for me, good, do what God said. Listen to God. Put God first. Don't let God end up hearing you say what you're going to do for Him if you're not going to do it. Wise up, smart up. Don't get all this attitude going where you did something that God didn't like and now God's mad because you won't explain it to Him what's going on in your life. I love you people, like I say, but y'all got to understand, God watches you like a hawk. He doesn't expect you to get it right all the time, but at least try your best to do what you can about it. And if you have to live in certain conditions, make sure those conditions are what God said. Because God's got a better understanding of lifestyle conditions than a human being does. I understand that more than you think I will. But I better let y'all go because I've spoke a long time and all. But I hope you like what you heard so far. And if so, tell me what kind of subjects you want me to do. Like get on Facebook, get on Twitter. On Facebook, go to Christian Hearts or go to Isaac David Brigmond and leave a comment about what you would like for me to do on the show. Also, I'm on Twitter on Mr. 27US and look for Isaac David Brigmond on YouTube. All right. And also, when you see those things on on those pages should be my email address. If not, then when you leave a comment, I'll try to give you the email address. All right. Thank you and have a nice day.